So you've got two options when it comes to how to be invested in retirement. And the beautiful thing about this is that you've got the freedom to choose which one is right for you. And this video is going to be helpful whether you are already retired or you're going to be retiring in the next 10 years. We just have to know the pros and the cons of each one of these so that you can pick the one that works the best for your specific situation. And let me show you a sneak peek of what I mean when I'm looking at these two different types of investment styles here. And then I'll show you some actual examples of what these look like and how these impact an actual retirement income plan. Because as you know, your retirement plan has a lot more involved than just what investments you have. Right? We've got to have the right investment plan, but we also need to know that any changes to our investment plan, how is that going to impact the income plan, which is really mini plan number 2. And then very importantly, those two plans, they've got to work together to also reduce the amount of tax that you're going to be paying in retirement. That's the tax plan. And those 3 plans are the essentials to that one great retirement plan. That's really how we start planning it at Streamline Financial. And it's really the way to give you the most confidence in your future. At least that's what we found with helping our clients. And really, I know that because we've helped people. I've been a financial advisor for over 14 years. And if I haven't met you yet, I'm Dave Zoller, and I own Streamline Financial with Tim and Luke and Sean. And we found that helping people with these 3 parts of their plan is a way to add more alpha or more investment return, and not just investment return, but also tax savings each year. And some of it has to do with the investment strategies, but a lot more than investment strategies, it has to do with the tax and the income strategies. But a lot of advisors and big firms they'll usually say, talk to your CPA whenever you bring up some of these tax things. So if you're currently working with a firm that mainly talks about just the investments in retirement, or you're not in retirement yet, but you're getting to that point and you're starting to realize there's more to it, and maybe they don't specialize in these different parts of retirement planning, then click on the streamlineplanning.com link below, and then click on Get Started on the homepage to have to request a free planning session. But now let's get into the 2 main options that we have for your investment plan. I want to show you what the best case and the worst case scenario looks like for your retirement plan. And not your retirement plan, but just the sample retirement plan that we're looking at here. And don't pay attention to the numbers, because what you'll find is most retirement plans will look something like this, where it starts out very narrow in the beginning, and then as time goes on, the outcomes kind of widen there. And we like using this Monte Carlo analysis here of 1,000 different what-if scenarios, because there's so many factors at play when it comes to making up a successful retirement. And as humans, we have no idea, right, what's going to happen tomorrow. So we look at a lot of these different scenarios with clients, because we found that one thing alone that greatly increases the peace of mind that comes with planning for the future. So this picture that we're looking at, I'll go back to it. This is taking the current investment strategy of this client, and then it's continuing the projections out for the rest of their life. But they have another important option to evaluate. And we found that a lot of clients who are close to retirement, they're going to change their mindset about what the true goal is of their investments and their assets and what their plan is. They'll realize what got them here may not be the best thing to get them there into this next stage. What made you successful the last 30 years with investing and saving is going to look different now in this next stage of retirement. It's no longer just about getting the highest return possible, right? And it's not just shooting the lights out with your investments anymore, or say the highest savings rate. Really, once you get closer to using your assets, this different feeling takes precedent. It's one of preservation, right? And just sustainability. Up until this point, for the last 40 years, you've had an idea of what risk you had in your portfolio. You had a pretty good idea of what your risk tolerance was and how comfortable you are with risk and the ups and downs, and you can handle it. But, I'm going to say something that a lot of people or a lot of advisors would disagree with. And it is, risk tolerance is a horrible way to decide how you should be invested in retirement. And I'll show you why in an example plan coming up. But if you're thinking, Dave, you're wrong about that risk tolerance, I know what it is. I can handle the ups and downs. It's no problem. It's not going to be any different in retirement. At least think about this. In your own retirement plan, wouldn't it be worth at least seeing what's the least amount of risk possible that you need to take with investing that still gives you a 100% chance of success, or at least a very good chance of success in your income plan. Because then you can decide what's the best option after that, right? After seeing all of the options. The idea of risk tolerance in retirement reminds me of that story I heard from Ron Bullis. It's of the 60-year-old man who goes into the doctor's office, and the doctor comes in after running some tests and says, "I'm sorry, you've got cancer." And the man is just in shock, and the doctor says, "But with the right amount of treatment, there's a good chance that you can beat this." And then he pulls out an iPad and he says, "Can you just fill out this questionnaire and just let me know how much treatment that you'd be comfortable with?" That doesn't make any sense, right? The patient would say, whatever the right amount of treatment is that's necessary to get rid of the cancer. So to me, that's kind of like what it's like with risk tolerance and planning how to be invested using only that. We have to think differently about risk and reward in retirement. Now, one of the risks that I didn't mention, but is very important, it comes into play for many people that we talk to, is sequence of returns risk. And maybe you've heard of that. That really has a big impact in the first 5 years of making withdrawals. Once you start making withdrawals, usually at the beginning of retirement, it makes a big impact. But there's a way to lessen that risk. But the thing that you have to do is sacrifice the expected return. So again, we just have to weigh the pros and cons here. And here's an example of what it looks like if you lower your risk in your retirement plan. And then I'll share one of the big mistakes that I see people make here when reviewing retirement plans. So as I am pulling this up, if you're still watching, please click the like button if you find this helpful. So hopefully YouTube's going to recommend it to more people similar to you, and they can get helped too. And don't forget to subscribe too if this is helpful. And I've got more retirement videos coming out in the coming weeks. So let me see if I can get this. Yes. So again, don't pay attention to the numbers here. Many of the retirement plans look like this, where there's quite a wide range of outcomes for the last years of the plan, right? And this is using the same investment strategy they had, which was more geared towards growth. But what if it changed a little bit? What if we lowered the risk in the IRA and the trust and had maybe the dollar amounts that's left on the top end is lower, but that range of returns or that range of outcomes is a lot different? For many, if they're able to fund all the things that they want to do in retirement and have a high level of success in their plan with less risk, that's more attractive than continuing to stay invested the way that they've always been with the same risk level. Really, the trick here is just finding the right balance for you. Everyone has a minimum rate of return they really need to achieve for their plan to be successful, and it's important to find yours. At least, again, maybe it won't be achieving just the minimum. You could always, if your minimum return was 2%, you may be investing differently, but at least knowing what it is really important. Now, I still need to share the big mistake. And remember, this isn't specific advice for you. This is to give you ideas on how to think about your own retirement and your own retirement plan. And it's important to talk to a CFP professional and just create your unique plan. And if you're looking for a team that does this every day, all day with their clients, reach out using the link below for a free meeting at Streamline. Now, for the mistakes that we see people make is they don't map out all the different scenarios that we were looking at, and they don't find the minimum rate of return. And let's see if I can go back to this area over here of all these different things that could happen. Many of them won't, but just mapping them out, seeing the what if scenarios is really helpful for a lot of people. And for the people that don't find their minimum rate of return, they might end up actually, the mistake we see is getting more conservative than they actually need to or should be. And that ends up lowering their overall success rate. So hopefully this is going to encourage you to at least think differently moving forward than you have been, about the last 30 years of investing in the next 20 or 30 years, and find the right balance for you. And if you like this video, you'll find this next video really good. It's on a few surprising truths in retirement that's really worth knowing so that you don't get caught off guard in your retirement years. So I'll see you in that video, and take care.